Buona, and welcome to Henry Wills Movie Reviews, where I take a look at films I've never seen before but others likely will have done. And today, I'm going to be a bit of a Debbie Downer. Given the overturning of Roe vs Wade in the last few months, let's do a film about abortion. So today we're going to be looking at the Palme d'Or winner, the 2007 Christian Mungiu film, 4 months, 3 weeks, 2 days. I've already seen a few of his films. I loved Beyond the Hills, so I'm going in with quite high expectations. Also, given 2007 was a pretty stacked year, particularly for not just US cinema, but westerns. I mean, you got There With Blood, which I suppose isn't technically a western, but it's in the West, sort of. Haven't seen it, but I'm pretty aware that if I do watch it, I'll probably love it. Assassination of Jesse James by the Count Robert Ford, and No Country for Old Men. I mean, pretty impressive. So, see what I think about this. I am going with very high expectations. Hopefully they're met. There isn't really much more to the plot than a character named Attilia who assists their friend Gabita in carrying out an abortion. However, there is a lot of context here which is important to know before going into this. This is set during the tail end of Ceausescu's communist Romania, during which time a decree was passed to help keep the population growth strong, to ban abortion except in extreme circumstances, to control their citizens, as opposed to for religious reasons, which is usually the excuse used. But it is really about control. Oh, and also, if you're thinking, well, maybe they should be wearing condoms then and being more careful. They're so irresponsible. These women, oh my God, going around having sex. Well, contraception was also illegal, so essentially it's either abstinence or you just hope you don't fall pregnant and just try and have sex anyway. Dark times. This is a very dour film that's very direct. Each scene has very long takes with minimal cuts, getting to the point and just telling it as it is. There's a lot of tension given there's mix-up in the hotel booking. Gabita lies about how far along she is in the hope that the doctor that they hire to terminate the pregnancy, Mr. Bebe, will just carry out the procedure anyway. She says she's 2 months along when in reality it's, well, the title of the film, 4 months, 3 weeks and 2 days. And upon learning this, he becomes rather irate because aborting a fetus this far along could land him in prison for murder for 10 years, I think he said. You know, the money that they offer him is not enough, and so he essentially suggests that they really need to make it worth his while because that money is not enough for potentially 10 years in prison. So they both have sex with him. This is grim, really grim. That scene where all this happens is about 25 minutes long. It's a very powerful scene with a lot of suspense. I was on the edge of my seat wondering how they were going to figure this out. Man, oh man. An actor, Vlad Ivanov, who plays Mr. Bebe, the doctor, he's brilliant in that scene and should have had awards contention, but you know, it's in foreign, so no one cares. It's superbly directed by Mungiu and just shows how dire the situation was then, particularly for a woman. And what I mean, when you consider how far things have fallen behind across the pond, this really makes you wonder what the future holds, and it's scary to think about it. There's also allusions to cracks in the communist regime with, you see, I believe, people waiting in line for food, reminiscent of what's happening right now in my country with food banks at the moment. And it's also depicted in I, Daniel Blake, cracking film. Should give that a watch if you haven't yet. It is equally very bleak. The scene at Attilia's boyfriend's house is particularly great and just features some wonderful acting from Anna Maria Marinka. She's essentially forced to have dinner with her boyfriend's family, and there's just one long take that's very reminiscent of The Last Supper, which apparently was accidental. It wasn't intentional at all from the director. But she's just clearly fixated about what's happening to Gabita and possibly what might happen if they're caught. You really can't tell what she's thinking about, but she's really deep in thought. While this is happening, everyone else around her is joyful and chatty, just, eating and drinking, and it's really impactful. I read a review from someone that I know who wrote about this and said something along the lines of how no matter where your views fall, you can empathise with such a situation, and I'm not really sure that that's true. There will be plenty of excuses that get dished out and blame on the women for having sex in the first place. Shame, lots of shame. I do think, however, that it is a very important film that deserves to be seen by as many people as possible. I'm not sure I want to see a fetus on screen again though, because yeah, you see it, it's pretty horrible. Don't go in thinking this is Never, Rarely, Sometimes, Always, which, while is not a feel-good film, it had moments of light to it. And this has got none of that. It's as brutal as Ceausescu's regime. It's not one to watch with the family on a Sunday afternoon.
I'm gonna give this a 9 out of 10.
While you may feel dissuaded from checking this film out, I do think it's worth a watch. It did win the Palme d'Or, after all, though it was controversially omitted from the Academy Best Foreign Language Film shortlist. It wasn't even in the shortlist, let alone nominated, and considering the films that were nominated, it's outrageous it was ignored. So, those are my thoughts on 4 months, 3 weeks and 2 days. Let me know what you thought of it in the comments if you have seen it. Don't forget to like, share and subscribe. Also follow me on Letterboxd over there. I'll see you all very soon. Pa! If this is too much, fuck. Living in the city.